Hi, welcome back to Parsha Beshalach at the WeeklyWhy. This week we have Pharaoh has just let the Israelites go, and he realized that he's made a big mistake. He says, "What have I done?" He's just let all these slaves go, all this free slave labor. He's made a big mistake. So he decides to take what's left of his army after the death of the firstborn and the other 9 plagues, and he's decided to take chase of the Israelites into the Sinai desert. So the Israelites are running away, and what happens is the Egyptian army, or as I said, what's left of it, is gaining on them. And the Israelites are freaking out. They're talking to Moses, and they're complaining, and they're saying, "Why have you taken us out here to die? We could have died in Egypt with a pot of meat at our feet. Why are we dying out here in the desert?" And so God is protecting them, but just as they're about to go into the Sea of Reeds, the people, as I said, are freaking out. They're saying, why did you just bring us out here to die? We could have died in Egypt. So the people complain to Moses, and Moses turns to God and asks God to save the Jewish people and to save them. And what God says next is very interesting. God says to Moses, "Why do you cry out to me? Tell the Israelites to go forward." It's a very strange thing that God says to Moses. He doesn't say, "Okay, you've prayed to me, I'll do exactly as you say." He said, "What are you praying to me for? Do it." So one of the interesting lessons from this comes from the Jewish Midrash, which is kind of like a homily or an interpretation. It says that at this point a man from the tribe of Yehuda, one of the Israelites who was leaving Egypt, named Nachshon, he jumped right into the Sea of Reeds, right up to his nose, and only then did the Sea of Reeds split. It's a very interesting idea that the Midrash points out, is that really God wasn't going to perform a miracle until the Jewish people showed a certain act of trust in Him. So there's a few lessons. Certainly there's many lessons we can take from this, but one of them is that we have to be active, certainly as Jews, as believing Jews, in our relationship with God, relationship with others, in the world, in the sense that we have to be active, proactive, not passive. In other words, the world isn't going to change unless we really take actions to change it. God isn't going to perform His miracles unless we take the first step. The Jewish view of prayer is certainly that it's important, that it's an integral part of our day, but not that we can sit and prayer will just happen. Certainly, open miracles like that are simply not happening anymore. What we need to do is take that first step, and only then God will do His part. As we said, the Jewish people have fought long and hard to survive this long, and the Jewish survival is inexplicable by any accounts, and yet it's not that we just sat back and did nothing. We worked very hard, and yet God let the miracle happen. So that's the first principle there, is that if we put our foot forward, God will absolutely fulfill it. And secondly is that any one of us can be the instrument for change. As I said, Nachshon, that the Israelite who jumped into the river and who's into the Sea of Reeds and the water covered up to his nose, what happened was he was a prince, one of the princely leaders of the tribe, but really he was just a person. And it's interesting that he didn't necessarily know what was going to happen. So the idea is that any one of us can be the instrument for change, and any one of us can be that straw that breaks the camel's back for a miracle to happen. So if we know that any one of us could be that breaking point, that any one of us could be that last thing that's required for something incredible and amazing, miraculous to happen, it should be an incredible lesson that really, it shouldn't stop any of us. In fact, it should spur us all on to know that any action we take really could be it. So as I said, the two main lessons we can take from God telling Moses, "What are you crying out to me for? Tell the Israelites to move forward," and from Nachshon jumping into the river, into the Sea of Reeds, just when things look really bad, is that one, we have to be active. We have to take the first step forward. Certainly we should pray, we should reach out to God, we should ask God for help and for guidance and for clarity, but we don't just sit back and ask. We really have to take that first step ourselves. But when we know that God is with us, wants us to succeed, and know we can't fail, then it's an incredible boost, and that we'll know we absolutely cannot fail, and we absolutely will succeed. And certainly the second one is that any one of us can be the instrument for change. Who knows who is going to be the one who's going to make that difference? So it should be an incredible inspiration for all of us to know that we all have that potential. Okay? Thank you very much. God bless. Shabbat Shalom.